What's up, people? So, if you're tuning in on SoundCloud, before I get into any of the topics or start talking, I guess I'm already talking, but before I get into any of the topics, please like this podcast. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I do post it on YouTube after SoundCloud. SoundCloud does get posted up quicker because it's just the audio. But there's no video to it regardless. But YouTube just takes longer. But if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, and if you like what you're listening to, or if you just like me, or you like the stuff that I talk about, please subscribe. That also helps. Thank you. Oh, and I'm working on getting this podcast to iTunes. We'll see how that goes, but it's been tricky for me to figure that out, but I'm working on it. So without further ado, let's start talking about some geeky stuff. And I'm gonna be talking about a lot, not in this podcast, but I missed out a week or two because I wanted to make this podcast a weekly thing, probably every Friday. But I didn't get to it for 2 weeks for different reasons. But so I'm gonna do this podcast and another one following probably the next day. So be on the lookout for that. 2 podcasts simultaneously, back to back. That won't be a normal thing. I guess it depends, but I missed out on a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about, so I'm gonna do 2 podcasts. So in this podcast, the first topic that I want to talk about, you can obviously tell by the thumbnails what I'm going to be talking about, but first things first, Dragon Ball Super, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys don't know, Dragon Ball Super is the lead up to Dragon Ball Z, lead up to Dragon Ball, the franchise. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, it'd behoove you not to be, because it's 20 years of childhood, 20 years of content. You know what I'm saying? It'd be kind of hard for you to say I wouldn't be mad if you say you're not a fan, but everybody knows what Dragon Ball is. It's almost synonymous at this point with anime just in general. So it's the most mainstream one, I'd say. But no, I'm a fan. I love myself some Dragon Ball. That was my childhood. That was my gateway to anime, manga, whatever you want to call it. Japanese, all that Japanese stuff. And Dragon Ball Super was announced I think a year or 2 ago, when Akira Toriyama decided that he wanted to make we knew about it when the movie, if you guys aren't familiar, Battle of Gods released, I think 3 years. Man, I don't even know if it's been that long. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but there's 2 movies out. But the point is, there was this lingering thing where Akira kept saying that maybe he wanted to do some more content, maybe he wanted to tell some more stories. So that was in the air, and here we are now. Dragon Ball Super is big. Everybody's talking about it. Apparently, it's caused Dragon Ball to trend again, I guess. But I was watching it. Right, I'm at this point. It's subtitled, and it's subtitled by fans, because it's only, it's only available for Japanese audiences, or that aspect of that demographic. And it's not in English, so, and if it is, it's some bunk English. It's not the original English dub voice actors that everybody's so used to, that I'm used to. So and and it's hard for me to watch something and just read the subtitles because I'm a visual dude. That I focus so much on like the animation that it's just like hard for me to simultaneously read the. I mean, I know it's possible, but I don't prefer it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But no, now it's officially coming to the USA. Like the English dub actors are officially gonna be working on it. A couple days ago, 2 days ago actually, yeah, it was announced that Toonami's got it. Toonami, who that now moved to Adult Swim, has got Dragon Ball Super, and they're gonna air it next year, January 7th. And the interesting thing about this announcement was like we're all expecting, like, yeah, everybody's hyped, everybody's like happy that Dragon Ball Super is coming. At least I am, and Dragon Ball fans are. But the double whammy of that, it was like we're releasing that, and remember Dragon Ball Z Kai, then that remastered series that ran in Nickelodeon every Saturday morning? Yeah, that's coming back too. So they also announced that they're gonna do Dragon Ball Z Kai, the last arc, the Buu arc, and they're gonna remaster that. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be difficult for them to do that, but they've decided to do that, and I might be wrong, but I think it's gonna run simultaneously with Dragon Ball Super, so that's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I don't have that channel, so I don't have the fortune of watching these shows. Probably watch it online somewhere else, but I'm just happy like Dragon Ball is still freaking relevant after 20 years. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't expect it to be this I mean, when you're a kid, you never know anything you don't know. I mean, you grow up and you treasure these things so much that it's just like, nah, it's like just for me and that's it. And then you go out and you realize how many people like it actually affected, and then you're just like, dang, like this is massive. And I think it's a big time because right now, like, if you guys aren't aware, mangas, like mangakas, I guess that's what they call them. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that or said it wrong. But basically the creators of mangas, like the writers, the artists, like the people who create these stories, have a hard time getting some payday. It's a very, very difficult thing to get money from. I mean, you would think that since these are like super worldwide loved characters, that they would get much more money, much more equity, much more revenue, or whatever you want it, however you want to say it or slice it. But the reality is it's not that simple, because just getting your story out there is difficult enough, but then you have to like go through another another company, and sign a contract, and then when you sign that contract, it's almost like you're sending away all your stuff, I guess, and it's almost like you almost get nothing back, which sucks. I mean, it's different here in America because you have like DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, Dark Horse Comics, Valiant Comics. I mean, there's those companies are out there, but they distribute it and they do things differently, where like they pay their writers and their artists good money. Like if you were to talk to the previous writers of Batman, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, I'm pretty sure they give you some good generous amount of. I mean, they won't tell you how much they've made, but I'm sure like it would be a generous amount, because I mean, Batman was the number one selling series like in 2004. It was like 2014 or 15 whenever they announced those two people to work on the title. I remember, man. And just in general, artists for American styled comic books get paid a lot. I mean, you get paid by page. You don't get like paid like a dividend of the sales amount that like these manga writers are getting. You get paid like straight up, page by page, what you're creating, and so it's a lot more easier to live by, I guess. Over here, whereas like it's weird that it's so different. You would expect it to be the same. You expect the company to be, but because it's like the series here in America are like more serialized. They have more running, ongoing things where like they have the what's the word? They have the exclusiveness to like switch out a writer. Let's say they don't like what the writer's writing, but they appreciate the art, or they want to keep that artist for whatever reason, so they can sign on a different writer and say, you know what, that other writer, I'm sorry, you just weren't cutting the bill. Maybe you can go. We can give you off this other series or whatever. But they can do that. Whereas like mangas are so heavily relied on that certain creator. That things get, I guess, convoluted and a little bit difficult for them to get their pay, apparently. So weird that I went on that whole topic, but the point of all that being is that I stopped going back to Dragon Ball Super and the English dub and all that stuff. I was watching like the anime, and like I said, I couldn't keep up with it because I don't like watching anything that's a different language that I don't understand, that I'm forced to read the subtitles. I just can't do that. I was watching this and I was just like, it was during this Golden Frieza arc where they like adapted the second Dragon Ball Z movie, where it's like Resurrection of F, where it's like one of the old villains, Frieza. If you don't know this, I mean, I'm gonna be bummed out, but I mean, he comes back and like it's that whole arc. They did a whole arc on that, and I was watching it or when they did that. I mean, I was watching it from the beginning, but I don't know. The animation was not that great, and because I had already seen the movie, and the movie was just animated so beautifully, and the story for the movie didn't make. I mean, it just like stuff just happened, and I was expecting the series to kind of like to explain it a lot better and to fix a lot of the plot holes that were there. So I wanted to see that, but it was just I just couldn't get through it. I tried to watch a little bit of the newer arc, and I was getting into that, but then I was just like, man, I can't handle these subtitles. I was like, I'm just gonna have to wait until they dub it, and luckily now they're dubbing it. But one of the awesome things was that this series, like the series, is going simultaneously. Like right now, it's it's going simultaneously with its counterpart, the manga, which is created by Toyotaro, and is heavily collaborated with the original creator, with Akira Toriyama. And this is why it's interesting, and going back to like the whole comic book and equity and money stuff like that. Akira Toriyama probably doesn't get paid as much as like comic book writers in America, but the whole, like, what's interesting about this is, one, that manga is so much better than the anime. It just is, and from my opinion, from like my viewpoint, and like comparing the episodes that I watched and like the chapters that I was reading, is just a lot fluid, a lot better. But this series isn't necessarily drawn or illustrated and per se written like page for page by Akira Toriyama. It's like Toyotaro for sure. It's like he's working on it. And so that's interesting because Akira was able to say, you know what, I'm going to let the reins back. I don't need to work on this series forever, like most manga people, like most manga artists do, which is not bad. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you can also, like, when you get to a certain age, you want to just sit back and say, you know what, I created this and I love it, but I can still like have it like be mine and like let it go, if that makes any sense. Like right now what he's doing is like he's giving Toyotario, again, the guy working on the manga right now, rough sketches. He's giving him layouts. He's letting him know this is what things need to be, how they need to look, and stuff like that. But then he would give him like outlines, I guess, of the story, and be like, okay, well, you can change things here, maybe go through here, and maybe this is going to be what's similar between the manga and the anime, because this is going to flow through with the anime and all that stuff. And so that's kind of interesting, because you get into that collaborative process that a lot of the American comic book industry has with its editors, writers, artists, inkers, letterers. I mean, there's all that stuff. I think that needs to be implemented more into the manga world, into that Japanese like production, because I think that's when people would get paid a little bit more, because the jobs would become more valuable. But that's a different topic. I just wanted to bring that 180 and somehow like make it reasonable as to why I went on that like 5-minute rant about like money and stuff. But anyways, going back to Dragon Ball Super, I think this is just awesome. 20 plus years, and this thing is still going like a freaking freight train. It's still alive. People are still talking about it, and man, I don't know when it's gonna end. Honestly, I don't know if it's ever gonna end. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, Akira Toriyama, the creator, did say he had an ending in mind, so I'm sure he's contemplating that ending, and he's contemplated it before, and he's already thinking about that. So I'm sure there's an ending, but it's just crazy, because it's like, this is my, like, since I was, like, before I was born, it was out, and when I was born, it got rerun, and I grew up with this stuff. Like, it's crazy. I don't know, I just didn't expect it to, like, last this long, I guess. So that's that, and I think that's awesome, and I cannot wait, and you guys should tune into that January 7th when it comes out. Dragon Ball Super, again, the English dub. And if you guys are a fan of this, or a fan of Dragon Ball and like Dragon Ball Super, I think you should, and if you're not following the English voice actor of Goku, Sean Schemmel, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think it's his pin tweet that he has. I don't know if it got tore down or anything, but because I know Funimation released a video like of their English dub, like they wanted to give us a little taste, and that had to get torn down because of like, I don't know, some other promotional troubles and stuff like that. So I mean, they took that down, but Sean Schemmel, he uploaded the video himself, I guess, because it's not linked with YouTube or anything. And it's a little like snippet of, he's like, what we've been working on, and it's just like, it is funny because it's like him saying what we've been working on, and he's doing like the voice for both of the characters. I think that's kind of funny, but it's some dope stuff. It's some dope content, and I think you guys should definitely check it out if you're a fan. So be sure to follow him on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's just at Sean Schemmel, or just look him up. He'll be there. But yeah, that's that. Dragon Ball Super, hyped for that. Hyped. So, what's the second topic? I'm just totally forget. Oh, right. Wait, is that the second? Sorry, guys. Horrible second podcast. Oh yeah, and by the way, that first, if you're listening to this and you heard like my first podcast, like for sure, like if you listened through it entirely, I apologize. It was a very bad podcast, or a very bad first podcast, the first episode to the podcast. But anyways, going back to I finally found my topics that I feel dumb for forgetting. But Young Justice is back. So Young Justice is getting a season 3, and if you don't know, Young Justice is Warner Brother animation TV let me say that again. It's a Warner Brothers animated TV show. Um, it's called Young Justice. It's pretty much, if you know who the Teen Titans are and like how they're like the sidekicks gone, like, turning their becoming leaders and all that stuff. That's pretty much what Young Justice is. It's like a tuned up version of Teen Titans. I mean, it has some Teen Titans characters in it, so it's pretty much, that's pretty much what it is. It's Teen Titans called Young Justice. It's what it is. But no, I mean, I remember back in high school, this show was out, like the first season, and it got a lot of people talking. I guess a lot of people were watching it. I didn't watch it, unfortunately. One, I didn't have the channel. Two, I wasn't watching that much TV. Three, I wasn't informed about it. Sadly enough, I was too busy reading comic books. But anyways, so it came out, and I mean, like the first season, right away, like off the bat, I remember watching it, and I was just like, this is weird. Like, it was a weird season. I'm not a huge fan of the first season, and I got through it because I was like, it's different. So I watched it, and the animation was not horrible, so it was good. It wasn't visually displeasing. So I'm watching it, and I think the issues I had with it was, like, one, the Joker that they made was terrible. I mean, horrible. I mean, there's no other way around it. That Joker sucked. And there was a lot of the villains that were just, like, goofy, or just, like, but then there was a lot of cool stuff, like Dr. Fate. That was awesome. I love Dr. Fate. So there's a lot of different stuff that, it balanced out and all that good stuff. But season 1 didn't really, like, sell me hard on it. What sold me on it was season 2, when they started, like, continuing the story, and they started, like, they started talking about, because season 1, the whole, like, and I hate to spoil it, like, if you spoilers, if you guys have not seen either of the either the first season, second season, and just barely heard about the third season and are hyped. I believe they're on Netflix, so be sure to check that out. But no, the first season is pretty much like Vandal Savage is, like, pretty much creating the why am I forgetting the name? It's like they're doing it on DC's Legends of Tomorrow right now. It's not the Crime Syndicate. It's like Legion of Doom. It's pretty much the Legion of Doom. There you go. It's like Vandal Savage is, like, getting all these villains, like Cheetah from Wonder Woman, Bane and Joker for Batman, Lex Luthor for Superman. Like, all these villains Vandal Savage is going to, and he wants to create this team to dominate the world, and to, like, all that baddie, stuff that makes bad guys. So they're up against the Justice League, but Young Justice comes up, and obviously they help out, and you're just in Justice League, and a bunch of different a lot of stuff happens. But the point is, the first season had that, like, overlaying thing, and just, like, shrugged in a little plot at the end that I just, it was cool fan service, but it's just like, could have done better. And they did do better in the second season, because the second season is so much better, so much better, or at least, like, I enjoyed it so much more. Because what it is, it's pretty much more about like the Teen Titans aspect of the story, where, like, these original Young Justice members are now older, a bit more wiser, and, like, not really, like, Robin is now Nightwing, Magan is I think a lot older, but the point is that they've like grown up, and now there's, like, newbies on the team. Blue Beetle, Kid Flash. Oh wait, no, Kid Flash was in the first one. No, it was Blue Beetle. Dick Grayson was the first Robin. Why am I Tim Drake? There you go. Tim Drake's Robin is there. Zatanna, Dr. Fate's daughter, is there, and a whole bunch of other forget the fish's name, but the fish is there, taking over Aqualad's spot. And no, it's it's so much better because it's like it just becomes a lot more interesting to watch because there's so much more going on, and the villain, and it's not like, I think it's just the story too. It's like they're focusing on Blue Beetle, or at least like that's part of mainly what they're focusing on is him and like his character development and all that stuff, which was dope. And that's the reason why I enjoyed the season, I think, is because this is a new character and most people don't know like what Blue Beetle, where he came from, like what his origin is and all that stuff. So there's that. But also I think it's like the conclusion to it was a lot better than the first season. Way better. Way better. Because there was actually like, there was weight to it, and there was actually meaning. And the point is, like, now that there's a season 3, season 1 didn't get me as hyped as season 2 did. What season 2 did was sell me on the whole premise of the Young Justice. So that's what is getting me hyped enough to talk about now Young Justice season 3, which I really, really want to talk about because of the ending of Young Justice season 2, which left a lot of questions and made fans want to get a lot more answers as to what's going to happen, where are these characters going to go, and there's so many unresolved problems, I guess, or like questions and stuff that people want to know. And so I'm excited for Young Justice season 3 to do that. But this is a spoiler heavy podcast, so if you're listening to this and you have not watched Young Justice season 2, I think you can pause this or like skip a little bit further, because I'm gonna go into a little spoiler in order to talk about what I think Young Justice season 3 might give us. So at the ending of Young Justice season 3, there's this little end scene, right, where, because Vandal Savage is still out on his search, and he still hasn't like wrecked the planet, I guess. Like there still hasn't been like a huge resurgence of the villains and all that stuff, because they've been busy with Blue Beetle. So this is just a reminder of the overlapping story, I guess, that's woven into the first and second season. Excuse me, of Vandal Savage getting more villains. And this villain that he gets at the ending is what gets me hyped and makes me go like, wow, you gotta be kidding me. There's no season 3, yo. Come on. You can't do that to us. And the villain he talks to, or the villain he meets with, is none other than the big baddie himself, Darkseid. So if you guys don't know, Darkseid is like, part of the New Gods, planet Apocalypse, and all those demigods, all those characters that Jack King Kirby created himself when he decided to re-immerse himself in the DC universe. And he's most notably now known for, or forever known for, to be the Superman's most formidable enemy, because other than Doomsday, of course, because he's just a constant threat, not just to Superman, like he's a huge threat to the Justice League, which is, what makes him such a great villain. Plus, he's not just like a throwaway villain. He's not like a villain that you just put up against the good guys so that they can look good. Like he's more than that. So he's very interesting, and I guess it's just like he's the type of villain that's like, I don't know, like the whole idea of Vandal Savage going to him, I was just like, dude, you gotta watch it, because this boy could kill you. He could murk you, like straight up. Like Darkseid is just that powerful. So I think that's what made it a lot, like it's gonna change the weight of the show a lot more for season 3, depending on how they go for it, especially because of what Wally did in season 2, at the ending, where he just like, decided to go all freaking superhero. No pun, no, I hate to sound all I can't think of the word, but anyways, he like sacrifices himself. Spoiler again, but no, the point is like there's so much things that, you know, they can talk about, and I mean sacrifices technically, but so yeah, there's so much there for Young Justice 3 to resolve, and especially because I want to see Darkseid wreck the Young Justice. I just do, and I want to see the Justice League come in and be like, you guys we thought you were capable, but apparently you're not. So there's a lot to be that's interesting and so awesome about the Young Justice now that gets me so hyped for season 3. So with that being said, let's move on to the next topic, which was the final topic of this podcast, which is Dumbledore, and who should play Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts world. So if you guys aren't familiar, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film came out this November, and got a lot of people talking again of the Wizarding world. But the interesting thing is like, I watched this movie, and I plan on doing a review on it. I still haven't uploaded one, but I plan on doing it. So I kind of want to get into. I mean, this is a topic that I can't talk about without getting into spoilers for the film. So again, spoiler heavy podcast. So Fantastic Beasts are the prequels to Harry Potter, or the Harry Potter world, the Harry Potter mythos. Not necessarily Harry Potter's character in general, but just like that world. And the interesting thing about Fantastic Beasts is because it's centered kinda. I said kinda because it's like loosely centered around the beasts and around you know, their involvement and their presence in the magical world, I guess. Ouch. Somebody's closing the door. Anyways, so they announced that Dumbledore himself, Dumbledore himself is going to appear in one of the movies for Fantastic Beasts. What time is it? So he's going to appear in one of the movies for Fantastic Beasts, and which is big because in the movie Fantastic Beasts, Newt Scamander, the main character, who I'm sure we're going to be seeing again in another film, is he's Dumbledore's one of Dumbledore's prodigies per se. Like, he's one of Dumbledore's apprentices, like who he looks to as the next possible greatest wizard. One of those, of course, we know in the future to be Harry. But anyways, the point of all that is that in Fantastic Beasts, there is a reveal at the end that I'm not going to. I mean, I guess I already said that it's spoiler heavy, so I guess I shouldn't really trip. But at the end, they announce who the big baddie is, or like, I guess the Voldemort of the series is, which is Gellert Grindelwald. So if you guys aren't familiar, and I'm going a little bit too geeky here, Gellert Grindelwald is pretty much Albus Dumbledore's bestie, or was, before they like sort of like parted ways and became like frenemies, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But the point is, like, that's what Fantastic Beasts, the whole, like, I guess all the films that they're going to be making is going to be surrounded behind it is Dumbledore and Grindelwald and their battle, which is known in the wizarding world as the greatest wizarding match held apparently ever. So that's pretty big. So Gellert Grindelwald, played by none other than Johnny Depp, is revealed in this film, the first film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And he's, well, I mean, I guess the interesting thing is he's like, he's stronger than Voldemort, I think, because like, if you guys haven't seen the Harry Potter films, and if you're not a Harry Potter like fanatic, in the one of the last films, I don't remember if it was there was a 2-part. The Deathly Hallows had 2 parts, so it was like, I don't remember if it was the 7th film or the 8th film, but I'm pretty sure it was the 7th, where Voldemort visits Grindelwald because he wants to know where a bunch of like plot stuff. But the point is, like, when he meets him, it's not like, oh, I'm here to tell, or like, it's not very, where Voldemort, like, I guess, is very like alpha, like, it's more of like Voldemort gets there and he like almost meets his equal, if not his predecessor, like his greater predecessor in Grindelwald. And that was what was interesting, was struck me about that scene where I was like, so that's Gellert Grindelwald, and he's not afraid of Voldemort. If anything, he thinks it's kind of funny what he's doing, or like childish, which is interesting. That tells a lot about his character in just that one scene, because it's just like, this is a guy you don't want to mess with, because this is a guy who truly is dark. Like, if he finds that playful and it was like, oh, Voldemort, ha ha ha, that was a child. Imagine when like he did back in his prime days, back when he like decided himself to look for the Deathly Hallows before, or the Horcruxes before, the Deathly Hallows before Voldemort, and how that affected Dumbledore and all that stuff. So I think I'm getting a little bit caught up with the story. But the fast forwarding, the point is, Dumbledore's going to be in the films, and I guess they're looking for their Dumbledore, which is like the younger because like I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is set like 70 years before Harry Potter. Crap, I don't feel like fact checking that right now, but it's like 70, or it's a long time. And I mean, Dumbledore's existed for a while in the Harry Potter universe, so I mean, he's an old dude. So it's gonna be interesting, because how young are they gonna go, and like who are they gonna pick? That's the biggest question I have, is like, who's gonna be Dumbledore? Because like I have 3 choices, or like 3 decisions that I would make, that would be like, okay, this would make sense, that would make sense, that would make sense. First one being, if they go a little bit younger, like if they want him to look a little bit younger than, obviously his huge older self in the grand Harry Potter films, then I think an actor who's great, who would take up the mantle, who would do a fantastic job, no pun intended, would probably be James McAvoy. I think James McAvoy would be a dope Dumbledore, a dope younger Dumbledore. He has that nose, he looks a little bit like him, and he's a great actor. So, sorry, I heard something. Pretty sure my dad's. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Man, this is another horrible I'm sorry for the long pauses and horrible podcast. This podcast has been brought to you by... No, I'm just playing. No, yeah, James McAvoy. There you go. James McAvoy, I think, would be a great Dumbledore, because, I mean, like, why not? I mean, he's already played Professor X. It's kind of almost the same thing. So my second choice would then be Michael Gambon, who, played Dumbledore for the rest of the Harry Potter films. I think he'd do a great job. I think that with the technology that we have today, you can almost like recreate his face and make him younger. You can take off some of those wrinkles and make him look like he's a dapper young fella, just like they did with Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War. I mean, or Michael Douglas in Ant-Man. They did a fantastic job making him look younger. So I think that's definitely a possibility if they don't know where else to go. Michael Gambon, just recast him, make him look younger with CGI. Why not? That would make sense. That would make sense for me. And I guess the third and last choice would be I'm blinking out, but I gotta fact check this one because I'm blanking out on the name. Blanking out on who I was talking about. Oh yeah, the original Dumbledore. Oh yeah. The original Dumbledore, Richard Harris, who played in the first two films, directed by Christopher Columbus. I think there's so many people that love that Dumbledore, that love that version of Dumbledore, and it's that's my Dumbledore. And makes sense because he was a great Dumbledore, a very heartwarming Dumbledore that carried a lot of spiritual weight, I guess. That sounded kind of corny, but he was just a great Dumbledore before he passed. Rest in peace, R.I.P. But one of his sons, who looks just like him and is an actor by the name of Gellert Harris, I think he would be a fantastic Dumbledore. I don't remember where I saw this or where I heard this, but I saw someone talk about it online. It was on a different show, a different YouTube show. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but they mentioned it. They said, why not Gellert Harris? He looks just like him, and I completely agree. I mean, if they wanted to go younger, but not look too young, and in the 40s or 50s range, whatever. I guess if they want to make him look young but not at his deathbed type of old, then Gellert Harris is, I think, at the perfect age right now. He looks just like the original Dumbledore in the first two films. I mean, he's Richard Harris's son. I mean, how good? Right now, Max Landis is remaking that werewolf movie, which was directed by John Landis, and he's gonna I don't know if it's a reboot or whatever, but that random topic that I'm bringing up because I think it would be great for Gellert Harris to inherit, much like Max Landis with John Landis in that werewolf film that I'm totally blanking out on and I don't remember, which is a horror film. But the point is, I think that would be awesome for another son to inherit his father's, work, and do it in a way that remembers his father and almost respects what he did and brings that heart and does a graceful job with it, because again, this is his son. So I think that would be great. So I think, for the question who should play Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts new films, I think James McAvoy. I mean, why not? He's already played I think split personalities in Split. He's a fantastic actor. So why not him? But if you don't want to go too young, and if he looks way too young, go Gellert Harris, baby, because Gellert Harris is is Richard Harris's son. So they look damn near alike. So why not Gellert Harris? He's an actor. Call him up. Be like, yo, you want to play Dumbledore just like your father did? Maybe that's not how the call would go. But anyways, that, or just take the easy route and recast Michael Gambon and just facially reconstruct him and make him look a little bit younger with CGI. So all those three options are a possibility, and I would not be mad with either of them. So that's it, folks. 45 minutes, a lot less than my other podcast. I actually thought I was gonna go a lot longer. I thought it was gonna take like an hour or something, but I guess I didn't. So yeah, thank you for listening again, tuning in again. There's gonna be another podcast probably the day after this one, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. A lot of info to talk about. So thank you again if you're listening, and be sure to like on all the platforms, SoundCloud and YouTube right now. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on SoundCloud. Like my SoundCloud. Yeah, working to get this on iTunes. I don't know if I won't plug anything, but yeah, thank you for geeking out with me again on episode 2, and I'll see you guys the next time.